Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining our October 2022 OC HMIS user meeting. Please enter your agency name into the chat box. We will cover the following topics in our user meeting today: potential duplicate client records, agency setup reports, data quality report cards, and system performance measurements, HMIS login, updating disabling condition. We have an update regarding the individual shelter bed reservation and an update regarding the bed reservation assessment, the data and performance management meeting agenda. We have a holiday announcement, and we'll leave some time at the end for Q&A. And we received some suggestions from agency admins to host an office hours, which we will host at the very end of the meeting. Potential duplicate client records. In effort to merge duplicate client records, the HMIS team sent a spreadsheet to agencies for review. You will review the spreadsheet and identify if the client profiles are of the same clients. If that is the case, please indicate that those are duplicate records and which one is the primary profile. Please then update the spreadsheet and upload it into your Dropbox and notify the HMIS team by October 14th so that we can merge those duplicate profiles. To continue the topic about duplicate records, we want to offer some friendly reminders and tips. So before you enter a new profile, make sure that your very first step is searching to see if the client record already exists in Clarity. We included a KB that will give you some tips and step-by-step on how to search up a client in Clarity. And you can see on the example to the right, when you're searching up a client, there may be already existing records. And we also want to remind you that we do have a duplicate client record report that you can run to identify these potential duplicate records. And to resolve that is by submitting a help desk ticket, and the team will merge the profile. Please remember to let us know which one is the primary profile so that we can merge the secondary account to the primary. And you can see that it is located under report library. And if you expand the data quality report folder, it'll be located there. I'm going to pause to see if we have any questions regarding duplicate client records. I don't see any questions coming in, but feel free to, we have a comment, thank you. We appreciate you giving us feedback that the report is helpful. So we'll move forward, but if you do have a question, please feel free to leave it in the chat. The agency setup reports. Projects are set up in HMIS using the information that is provided in the new agency/project setup. This form includes sections such as the program descriptor, bed inventory, funding source. To ensure the data that is accurate for the project setup, we ask that you review the forms that we've attached in the audit form. This is the information that your project was set up with. So if you review and see that there are some corrections, please submit a HMIS help desk so that the team can process those corrections. And finally, a friendly reminder that this agency setup review dashboard is available on Clarity for you to run. So you would run this report and review the data and verify that it is accurate for your project setup. The pathway is listed there in the third bullet point. So you'll go to reports, click on the data analysis tab, and then expand the Orange County Clarity System report folder, and then navigate to agency management, and you'll see the agency setup review dashboard. And we'll review the different sections that the report has. The first section is the program descriptor data. In this report, you'll see your project name, the project type, the geolocation and the site of your project, as well as the housing type, whether it's single site or a scatter site, and the operating start and end date. In the funding source, that's the second section, you'll see your project name and the funding source that's supporting the project, the start and end date of the funding, and if there's an amount attached to the funding that you provided. For projects that have multiple funding source, you'll also see it listed as different entries to reflect the different funding source that the project is supported by. And if you don't see a funding source listed for the project, that means that the funding source has expired. So please submit an HMI help desk so that we can record the most accurate and updated funding source for your project. And the third section is the bed inventory. In this report, you'll see the project name as well as availability information, the household type, the inventory start and end date, and the units and beds, as well as if it's a bed for veterans, youth, or chronically homeless. And you'll notice that project 1 has 2 entries. It's because this project has 2 different beds for 2 different household type. You'll notice that it says household with at least 1 adult and 1 child, and household without children. So that's how you'll read this, is that this project has 2 different bed inventory for the different household type they serve. And bed inventory may change throughout the year. So we also ask that you please submit a ticket to us so that we can update and record the most current bed inventory information you have for your project. So I'm just gonna pause to see if we have any questions about the agency setup form. We'll also include the KB that describes the dashboard in our meeting minutes. I don't see any questions coming in, so I'll move forward. Linda?
Yes, so it is that time again for data quality report cards. We will be sending out data quality report cards along with system performance measure corrections today. So please be on the lookout for that email, as corrections are for both of these are due in 2 weeks. So in that email, you will find instructions on the following. Data quality report cards or corrections will include universal data standards, which includes name, social security number, date of birth, race, ethnicity, gender, etc. We also have program-specific data elements for entry and exit, and then also data timeliness. And then data timeliness, by HUD standards, data must be entered within 3 days from when the data was collected. And then also for system performance measures, if you can go on to the next slide, please. So I just want to do a quick overview of this. For the system performance measures corrections, we will include a number of measures. We have 1A, which will be the length of stay for emergency shelters and transitional housing projects. And then also it will measure the length of time between the approximate date started and the project start date, plus the length of stay of emergency shelters and transitional housing, or the length of time between the project start date and the housing move-in date for permanent housing projects. Measure 2, this will indicate whether or not the client returned to homelessness after exiting to a permanent housing destination. And then 4.3 and 4.6, it will determine whether or not the client in permanent housing projects reported increased income during their enrollment or at exit. And next slide, please. And then we have measure 7, 1A. It determines the number of clients that exited the street outreach projects into successful destinations. B1, it will determine the number of clients that exited the emergency shelters, transitional housing, and rapid rehousing projects into permanent housing destination. And last but not least, we have B2. This will determine the number of clients that is stabilized in permanent housing during the reporting period. And this also includes clients that exited to permanent housing destinations and clients active in the project with a housing move-in date. So instructions on these corrections will be sent out in the email, and they will be due 2 weeks from today. So if you please refer to the email for additional information. And if you do have any questions on the corrections, please do not hesitate to reach out to us by submitting a ticket or calling the help desk.
Thank you, Linda. So we'll see if there's any questions coming in regarding data quality or SPN. I don't see any questions, so we'll move forward. Armando.
Hi, good morning, everybody. We wanted to provide some refresher information regarding the HMIS account login, or for folks logging in. We've been receiving a few instances where our users are being disabled due to inactivity. So we ask everybody to keep in mind that if you receive an error that your user account has been disabled due to the inactivity, or if you receive an email, such as the one on the right side of the screen here, then your HMIS user account has been deactivated. And this is going to occur if the user has not logged into HMIS for 60 days or more than 60 days, or if your account was reactivated and you did not log back into it within 24 hours. If you have not logged into HMIS within a 60-day time frame, you will need to recomplete the required HMIS trainings to gain access into HMIS again. And then if your account was reactivated and you did not log in within 24 hours, we want to make sure that you're notifying your designated HMIS agency administrator to submit a ticket so that the help desk can reactivate your account. As a friendly reminder, HMIS users should not be submitting tickets on their own, including in instances where they have been deactivated. Those requests should be forwarded to their agency administrators for them to submit the formal request. Next slide, please. And then there's been a revision or an updated field added to the HMIS account update and testing form. As you can see on the right side of the screen here, the account update and testing form has been updated to include a new question asking for confirmation if a new user has ever had an HMIS user account with another agency that had previously participated or that is currently participating in Orange County HMIS. We have seen a few instances where this information or the question on the bottom of the screen is incorrectly indicated. So we do ask all of the agency administrators that are on the call to please double check and verify this information so that the help desk can respond to these requests as smoothly as possible. And so that we're not creating duplicate user accounts for personnel that already have a user account, either with another agency or with the same agency.
Thank you, Armando. We'll just pause to see if any questions come in regarding login.
So Armando, are you saying that this is the first time that this question is added, or it was there before?
The new field at the bottom on the right side of the screen here, it's a fairly recent addition that's been made to the account update and testing form.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So Armando, I have a question. So let's say somebody does have a previous login from another agency. Do you just take that login and change their email? Because usually, you know, their email is their username. Do you delete that account, or do you just change the email associated with it?
So emails aren't really used as the username for logging into Clarity. The username information would stay the same, but you're right, the username would have to be updated as well as the associated agency. So if as an example, Carmen, if a user is coming from another agency, we want to make sure that we're not creating a new user account for them. We're just going to be updating the agency email for the agency that they're working with, and then we're going to update the specification of who they're currently working with. But the username information would stay the same.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
And regarding the reports that we can pull up, we cannot pull up reports that show bed availability for other programs that are not our programs, correct? Or are we able to see bed availability for other programs, like shelters?
So I'll go back to that screen. So for the agency setup review dashboard, this report is available for your agency to run only on your agency data.
Okay, are we looking into, since I know or some agencies are able to send referrals for 2 particular shelters, is that bed availability going to be provided for those shelters? Or are we still just going to be able to enter people on a waiting list?
So I think you're talking about something different. So the slide that Elizabeth is showing is for agencies with housing projects to be able to see what their inventory is for each of their housing projects. Bed availability that you're talking about, Tony, is for coordinated entry, and if a project has identified housing opportunities that are available for match. And to see those, we do have a weekly housing opportunities availability report that we send out. So if you want to receive that email, you can enter a ticket with the HMIS help desk to be added to that report.
Thank you, Aaron.
Okay, thank you, Erin, for your support. I don't see any more questions coming in, so we'll move forward. Diana?
Good morning, everyone. I wanted to go over updating the disabling condition for a client. As you are dealing with the client profile, client enrollment, you may have instances where you need to update the disabling condition for the client. There are 2 different scenarios that will help you decide which type of update you need to do. So if the client always had a disabling condition and it wasn't noted in their program enrollment, then you should update the enrollment screen. If the client had a change in status after the enrollment, meaning that they're now in a disabling condition status, then what you would do is add a status assessment for their disabling condition so it can be tracked. So this information has been updated and added to our disabling condition field knowledge base, which is linked below.
Thank you, Diana. We'll just pause to see if anyone has questions about updating disabling condition. I don't see any questions coming in, so Andrew?
Hey everyone, so we have some bed reservation system updates we would like to share, and I believe Jasmine from the Office of Care Coordination is also on the call. So Jasmine, are you able to give a brief overview about these updates?
Yes, I'm on the call, Andrew.
Okay, cool. I'll just hand it over to you.
Of course, thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jasmine Miranda with the Office of Care Coordination, and I wanted to provide some updates on the individual bed reservation system. So just to give a brief update, the community queue has been live and active since September 20th. And I wanted to give a big thank you to the 211 team, as this system would not be live and running without them. For some updates, we started to provide match emails for Huntington Beach Oasis, and they've been ongoing. And with move-in starting yesterday on the 4th. And then match emails for Anaheim North Harbor will start being sent out within the next 2 weeks, with North Harbor being ready for move-in mid-October, approximately on the 17th. And then next slide, please. And then we also wanted just to share some reminders with all of you. To start off, the bed reservation system follows the coordinated entry system prioritization policies, which have been recently revised. And I will be dropping that link in the chat for all of you, just in case y'all were not aware of that revision. And then additionally, we just wanted to send a reminder that households must have homeless verification or chronic homeless verification form on file in HMIS before being placed on the community queue. Additionally, the needs bed reservation assistance service is required to be included on the bed reservation community queue, and that service needs to be updated on a weekly basis to ensure that clients are active and interested in shelter. Additionally, we can go on to the next slide. So if access points need clarity or technical assistance on any of the information that we shared, we encourage you to contact the coordinated entry inbox. And I will be dropping the email in the link on the chat as well. And I did wanted to note that the coordinated entry inbox will have a new email as the Office of Care Coordination transitions from healthcare agency to county executive office. So stay tuned for more information on that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jasmine, for the update. So we'll move forward. Andrew.
Yeah, so on a related note, we have made a couple of changes to the bed reservation system in HMIS. We've added a couple of new fields for when you add an opening or housing opportunity. And these new fields are to indicate whether the opportunity is for the family bed reservation or the individual bed reservation. So when a housing agency is adding an opening or opportunity, they can toggle those fields to delineate between the two categories. And if you have any additional questions or you want more information, you can also refer to our knowledge base article on the community queue for housing agencies, which also goes over the bed reservation system.
Thank you, Andrew. We'll just pause to see if there's any questions about the update. So I don't see any questions coming in, so we'll move forward. Linda?
So there were 4 assessment questions that have been added to the bed reservation assessment. This applies for both the family and individual bed reservation projects. So these questions will include the assessment date, the assessment level. For this one, you have a selection of whether the crisis needs assessment or the housing needs assessment. And then also the assessment location and assessment type, which will be in person, virtual, or by phone. So if you do have any questions regarding adding households to bed reservations, please check out the KB article that has been linked on the slide.
Thank you, Linda. We'll pause for any questions. I don't see any questions coming in, so we'll move forward. Diana?
The Data Performance and Management Committee meeting is for next Thursday, October 13th at 1:30. The agenda for this meeting is coordinated entry, universal data element, quality threshold, OC versus national CES referral success rates, and the PSH OPH project performance reports. The link is available in this slide and will be provided in the meeting minutes if you would like to join this meeting.
Thank you, Diana. Jonathan?
This upcoming Monday is a holiday, Indigenous Peoples Day. So we will be off on that day. We'll be back on the next day, Tuesday, October 11th.
Okay, thank you, Jonathan. So we do have some time for Q&A. So if you join us a little bit later on, please, a friendly reminder to please add your agency name into the chat box. And for this section, we ask that you ask us questions related to the HMIS topics we discussed in the user meeting. And if there's no questions, you can feel free to hop off, and we'll start office hours for anyone who has any questions about HMIS. So if a question comes up later on that you would like to ask us, feel free to reach out to your agency admin so that they can submit a help desk ticket to the HMS team so we can address your questions. I don't see any questions coming in regarding the topics we discussed this meeting. So thank you, everyone. We'll see you at the next user meeting on November 2nd. So if you don't want to participate in the office hours, feel free to hop off now, but we'll start office hours now.